Gentlemen, I'm going to look at what we call activity-based costing. ABC, activity-based costing. Now, before I introduce this topic, I would want in this case here to give you a small assignment. Assuming today I have Kenya shillings 100. This money which Mwalimu has, Kenya shillings 100. And I happen to be having two students here with me. These two students are going by the names AB, and I want to give them this money in this ratio, 5:3. 5:3. So then tell me, how much will A get and how much will B get? And of course, as usual, I'll always keep on sending you guys great presents. So I have 100 to subdivide. And I'm subdividing this 100 bob in the ratio over 5:3 to my great students who are with me here today. So tell me, given the ratio, how much will A get? How much will B get? A will get, I'm being told here by a student here that A will get 62.5. The online ninjas, online ninjas are also getting. And then B will get what here, somebody? What did you do to get these great correct answers? There are many, many methods you could use to get these correct answers. I suppose somebody may have gone ahead and gotten the total ratio, which in this case here gives us 5 plus 3. That gives us what here? 8. And then somebody must have known that then A will get in this case here the fraction of 5 of what? 5/8 of the 100 of the 100. That is how these great students got the 62.5. Thank you very much, Terry. And of course, B will now get the other fraction, which is 3 over what? 3/8. Now, how about this other model where, for example, we shall come here because your examiner now loves this model. Your examiner loves what we call OAR model, overhead absorption rate model. Have you covered this? OAR, overhead absorption rate. This is the model that your examiner loves, overhead absorption rate. So in terms of overhead absorption rate, they would want us to take the total amount here, the total overhead. Total overhead, which is 100, and then you divide by the total proportion here. Total proportion here. So 100 divided by what here, somebody? 8. So is there somebody who is able to give me this OAR, overhead absorption rate? What is 100 divided by 8? 12.5, isn't it? So then this gives me 12.5 per unit of the activity. So that when I'm now apportioning the money, instead of using the fraction approach, I will come and say, A, we know that he's supposed to be consuming 12.5 per unit. But you see, A has got how many units here, somebody? 5. A has got 5. OAR approach, where you take the total overhead, you divide it by the total activity units here. You get, in this case here, per activity unit, A will be consuming 12.5 and he has 5 units here. Will this give me the 60 something? You guys gave me a figure here, 60? 62.5, isn't it? And then B, we have what here? So B, it will be the OAR times his units here, times 3. And we shall be able to get the 37 point what here? 37.5. And now that introduces us to what we call activity-based costing, and we shall be using this simple approach throughout. Now, when we talk of activity-based costing approach, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, you need to appreciate what are we doing in terms of apportioning these overheads. First of all, what is an overhead? What is an overhead? From the name overhead. So overhead, these are basically common expenses. There are common expenses. These common expenses, at the end of the day, they will need what we call apportionment. There are common expenses incurred for the benefit of what here? Many units. So these are common expenses. Common expenses incurred for a pool of units. A pool of units. They could be 100 units. So for example, when we pay rent of say 30,000 for this room, and we are paying this for say 50 students to be comfortable. The room can accommodate like 50 students. So you see the rent paid here, 30,000 is common for the 50 students. At the end of the day, for pricing purposes, to be able to know how much fees will each student pay for us to be able to, take care of our costs and make a profit, we need to apportion this rent here. So you're saying that overhead, and overhead is a common expenditure in the card for a pool. Many number of what here? Many number of units. Very, very important. So at the end of the day, these overheads here must be apportioned. They must be apportioned. They must be apportioned to individual. They must be apportioned to individual units. What basically we call the cost units, like that. So for pricing purposes, at the end of the day, these overheads here must be apportioned. So there are two methods of doing the apportionment. There are two methods. There are two methods of doing the apportionment. Number one, we have what we call the traditional approach. Traditional approach. And then we have the second one, which is now modern, what we call activity-based costing. Activity-based costing. So you've got two approaches of doing this apportionment of these common expenses to the cost units. The first method is called traditional approach, and then we have here ABC, activity-based costing. What is the difference between the two methods? Do you know the difference between the two methods? Any abracadabra, anybody who could be knowing the difference between the two methods, and the examiner will ask you. And of course, at the end of the day, they will never give us the same answer. They're different methods. And the one that we shall always have faith in terms of giving us the correct parameters, the correct apportionments, it will be what here, somebody? ABC. It's modern. This is modern. Traditional approach, ladies and gentlemen, it uses only one basis. Uses one basis to apportion the entire overhead. It uses one factor. It uses one basis or one factor. One factor. It can say, for example, we are going to be using labor hours. So it assumes that the entire overhead item is being affected by labor hours, which is a lie. We could be having some overhead items which don't even relate with the labor hours totally. So this one here uses one factor, whereas ABC uses multiple factors, what we call cost drivers. So they will ask you the difference between the traditional absorption or apportionment approach vis-a-vis ABC. ABC makes use of what here? Multiple factors or multiple cost drivers, and that is why it is an accurate method of estimating costs. Whereas traditional method basically uses only one cost driver. Do we have our past papers? Abracadabra. If you don't have your past papers, you can still rely on your notes. If you go to page number 22 of your notes, actually it's page 18. I want us to straight away go to April 2025, question number 1, boy. April 2025, question number 1, boy. April 2025, question number 1, boy. April 2025, April 2025, question number 1, boy. Once you get it, please put your thumbs up. Put your thumbs up like somebody who has taken lunch. April 2025, question number 1, boy. Do you have it, somebody? Do you have it, somebody? April 2025, question number 1, boy. April 2025, question number 1, boy. We are told 𝒏𝒊 Limited, he hasn't gotten it yet, we shall overcome. 𝒏𝒊 Limited makes and sells 3 types of standard furniture using job order costing system. The extract below shows the budgeted production plan for sofa sets, tables, and the beds in 3 production cost centers for the month of May 2025. So I can see production and the sales. Sofa sets, we produced 1,000. Tables, we produced 2,000. Are we there? We could share with her. Tables, we produced 2,000. And the beds, we produced how many? Or we're reading different, 800, yes. 800, yes. And then I can see the direct material cost per unit. I can see the direct labor cost per unit. I can see great things, ladies and gentlemen. I love management accounting because it is the easiest subject. So then they have given me cost drivers. When I see the word cost drivers, I know they're going to test me on issues to do with activity-based costing. Activity-based costing. So additional information, the company operates a just-in-time system, a JIT system, inventory policy, and receives each component once per production run. I haven't yet taught you what we call inventory management, but whenever you hear of this JIT, what comes to your mind? Yes. So in this case here, just in time, we shall only be making orders when we need to make production. All right. So we basically order raw materials for immediate usage. We don't have stores under JIT. Yeah, so if it's a hotel, we want to use some kale sukuma wiki. So we shall not be having like a store of sukuma wiki, no. We simply bring these sukuma wikis as they are requested by our customers. We cook them immediately. So there is nothing like storage. Currently, production overheads are allocated based on direct labor hours absorption basis. Susanna Njeri, the company's management accountant, has recently attended a conference on activity-based costing system, where she learned that overhead costs can be analyzed by the major activities in order to compute activity-based costs. Therefore, she proposed the adoption of the ABC technique. Number 4, the production overheads for the period have been analyzed as follows, together with their cost drivers. So I can see setup cost, blah, 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 blah. What is the total overhead? The total overhead down there is 5,340,000. That is the total overhead. They want me to calculate the unit cost for each product where production costs are absorbed on the basis of direct labor hour overhead absorption rate base. And then number 2, first of all, before I go to number 2, when you read number 1, where they want us to calculate the unit cost for each product, where production costs are absorbed on the basis of direct labor hour overhead base. Which method are they talking about here? Traditional method. Because traditional method is the only one which makes use of what here? One factor. And the factor in this case is direct what here? Direct labor hour. So I suppose you guys can do this first part on your own, right? I suppose you guys, given the exposure that you have, you can very easily do number 1 on your own. But of course, I know you would want Mwalimu also to do it, isn't it? So let me do it. So they want me to calculate these costs for each of these products by, first of all, apportioning the entire overhead of 53,40,000 using one cost driver, one factor. So in this case here, number 1. So number 1, it is a traditional approach. Why am I saying it's traditional approach? Because they have asked us to use one factor to apportion. They have told us to use one factor to apportion. And do we know this factor? Yeah. In this case here, they want us JJ Kamoto wants this handout. I'll be able to share a bit later. Let me first of all drive the concept home. So in this case here, they want us to use labor hours, isn't it? They want us to use labor hours. Only labor hours. So in short, they want us to apportion the total overhead. They want us to apportion the total overhead of 5340,000 without looking at the individual components. They don't want us to look at the individual components. They want us to apportion the total overhead of 5340,000 using what here, somebody? Using just one factor. I'm just repeating this for you to understand this better. Using one factor, which is the labor what here? Labor hours. Labor hours. The very first thing that I will do in this question, the first step number one, give us the total labor hours. 1 mark will go here. Give us the total labor hours for the entire factory. Entire factory. 8,900. I'm being told that the total labor hours are 8,900. Is there somebody else who is able to see that? Wait, they are not talking to me. They are not talking to me. There is only one person who has been able to see the total labor hours. You can see here. You can see here, direct labor hours, they are 8,000 what year? 900. Trust you me. If you get a bad examiner like myself, those days when I was young, when I was an examiner, nowadays I don't set for CASNEP. I wish I was setting for CASNEP. I can't give you that number, 8,900. I can't give it to you. So if it's not given to us, how do we ascertain it? That number, this number of 8,900 will not be given to you. This semester will not be given to you. You must calculate it yourselves. Fortunately, they have given me the labor hours per unit, and we know how many units we are going to produce for each product, isn't it? So to get the total labor hours, this is what I will do. I will take 2.5. This is per bed. No, per sofa set. And how many sofa sets are we producing production here? 1,000. Some labor hours will be spent on producing the next product, known as tables, where I'm going to have 1 times 2,000. It is 1 hour times 2,000. I can see some other labor hours going to beds. So that will be what here, somebody? Is it 3? No. I took a wrong number. Direct labor hours, it is 2.5, 2, and 3, isn't it? 2 and 3. Sorry for that. 2 and 3. So 3 times the number of beds that are being produced, they're 800. They're 800. They're 800. So can somebody in this case here come here and they give me this total labor hours for the factory? How many hours are we getting? Somebody here? Is there somebody with 1,000 something? 8,900, isn't it? Now, once I get these 8,900 hours, the second step is for me to calculate the metric for absorption. The second step, come here and they give me OAR, overhead absorption rate. You can write this in full, overhead absorption rate, overhead absorption rate, overhead absorption rate. How do I get this OAR? So OAR will be the total overhead all over the total labor hours. Total overhead all over total labor hours. Total overhead all over the total labor hours, because here we must use the factor of absorption. The basis of absorption, and the basis in this case here is labor hours. The basis is labor hours. So total overhead over total labor hours. So total overhead, how much are we talking about? Are they able to see this 40,000? Oh, I'm alone. 8,900. Huh? 600, right? 600, 600, 600, 600, 600. So this is 600 per what? Per labor hour or per hour, isn't it? I like differentiating this by mentioning labor hour because they're also machine hours. They're also machine hours. So that is our overhead absorption rate. Now, please go and read the question. What does this examiner want? Does he want us to provide a total cost statement or a unit cost statement? It's unit cost statement, eh? Unit cost statement. Unit cost statement. The online students haven't yet answered me. What does this examiner want us to do? Does he want us to give total for all the units or just for one unit? The online ninjas, they're not talking to me. Unit, right? So then if it is unit, let me read the question. So the question here, you can see, calculate the unit cost for each product and where production costs are absorbed on the base of direct labor hour. So they want us to give unit costs. Yeah, I love this. They want us to give unit cost. So they want us to give them a unit cost statement. A unit cost statement. So we have our three products. Our three products, ladies and gentlemen, what is their names? Do you remember the names of our three products? We have sofa, tables, and the beds, isn't it? Yeah, yeah, great. So we start here with the overhead for each one of them, for each unit, for each sofa set. So remember, we are absorbing this overhead using which criteria? Labor hours. So in this case here, we'll take the labor hours needed to make one sofa. How many hours do you need to make one sofa? It's given there. 2.5. Remember the hours we need here to make one sofa is 2.5. Tables, you told me we need 2 hours to make one table. And then beds, how many? 3 hours. Do we know how much in terms of overhead will it cost us to make a sofa per hour? Yeah, 600. 600. 600 like that. So remember, if they wanted a total, then I would have multiplied this with the number of units. Like if it's sofa set, you're going to make 1,000, then times 1,000. But you see, this is just for one unit. For one unit. So 2.5 times 600, this gives me how much? 2,500. 1,500, thank you so much. This 1,200. 2 times 600. 1,800, the last one is 1,800. So the online ninjas up to here, are we really together? The online ninjas, so the online students, are we really together here? And the students who are online with me, I would want to take this opportunity to welcome all of you to be coming to the college here on Sundays to study from here. Yeah, we are based at Commonwealth House, right opposite Galitos. So we finish our MA class and then we go opposite here and then we take a packet of chips like KFC, or Galitos or whatever. All right. Today I only have 4 students. I would expect all of you to be joining us here on Sundays. So now remember, now we have been able to take care of overheads, right? After taking care of overheads, please, the examiner never spoke about us computing just overheads. They want us to get unit costs. Cost, we shall have the overheads and the primary costs. So come and say, add the prime costs. Add the prime costs. Add prime costs. Do you know them? It is materials and labor costs. So are you able to see the material cost per unit? Is there anybody who is able to see the material cost per unit? Material cost, please give me the figures. The online guys should also be able to talk to me. According to Jennifer, material cost per unit for sofa, it's 4,500. Right? So the leathers, etc. Here we need 4,500 in terms of materials. How about one table? Tables will be 2,000, right? 2,000. And then what do we have for beds? 3,100. Table 2,000. And then we have beds. Yeah, so that is materials. How about labor cost? Are you able to see the labor cost, my good students? Are you able to see the labor cost? Labor cost in shillings. In shillings. Labor cost in shillings. 1,000 here. How about here? 800. How about this one? 150. 750, like that. That is the total cost. This will be the cost per unit. Cost per unit. So then I will take the overhead plus the primary costs. So it's 1,500 plus 4,500 plus 1,000. We write an answer. We write an answer. Yes. 7,000. The first one is 7,000. The first one is 7,000. BRI, we're getting 750. You must have missed a zero. 7,000. JJ Kamoth, okay. The second one will be 1,200, 4,000. 4,000. 4,000. The third one, 1,800 plus 3,100 plus 750. 5,650. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So there is one mistake that this examiner, this examiner as an examiner setting an exam for CASNEB, you shall never be very lenient with these students. You need to be a bit tough as an examiner, because these guys are going to drive the economy outside here. They need to be tough and listening. So he should not have finished this question here. He should have given you markup. So he should have told you if the markup is 10%, what is the selling price? So if he gave you, for example, don't write this, if he gave you a markup of 10%, if he gave you a markup of 10%, then you should have come here and calculated the profit now. We call it profit, what your profit markup. So it'll be 10% of 7,000. Don't write this, which will be 700, isn't it? 10% of this, 400. 10% of this, 565. And then when you add the two, now you are able to get what we call a selling what here? A selling price. You're able to get a selling price. Very good question, yeah. Very, very good question. Very, very good question. Very good question. What if, ladies and gentlemen, and this has happened severally, we know that markup marries cost. Markup, it's very compatible with the cost. But at times you'll get an examiner, instead of giving you markup, they'll come and they give you what we call margin. Yeah, just to disturb you. When you will become an examiner, you'll become a bad examiner. I've seen you. You become a very tough examiner. If he gives you margin, like 2 over what here, somebody? 2 over 5. And you want to use this margin on cost, it cannot be compatible. When you're given margin, you must always change margin to markup. You must know how to change margin to markup. And because this student has asked, and some students in this case here, they are normally sent, let me just use 2 minutes to explain how do we do this conversion. Please listen. Whenever a given markup as A over B, and you want to get margin, margin iko na makalio makubwa. Base yake ni kubwa, margin. So anytime you want to get margin, you should talk of A, B plus what here, somebody? A. The upper part will always be the same regardless of whether you're talking of markup or margin. But margin has always a bigger base. So whenever you're going to the margin, always increase the base. I mean, if you're given markup, just for your practice, 2/5. Is there somebody who can give me the margin? 2/7. Because margin, you must inflate the base. Margin, you must inflate the base. So the margin will be 2/5 plus what here, somebody? 2. Which will be 2 over what here, somebody? 2/7. 2/7. Please give me some feedback there, whether you are able to follow. Tell me whether now you have known how to convert markup to margin. And then I'll be able to teach you how to convert now margin to markup. Thank you so much. What if in this case here, some ninja came and gave you this kind of what here? This kind of he gives you margin as 2/9. What do you think in this case here will be the markup? Ooh. Markup is a smaller one, isn't it? 2. Yes. So markup, always the denominator is smaller. So it'll be 2, 9 minus 2, which will be 2 over what here? 2/7. 2/7. And if you look at your past papers around, they'll give you costs, but in the additional information, they'll tell you that margin is 10%. So if they tell me margin is 10%, I'm an economic student. I know at the end of the day, margin can never be multiplied with cost. It's markup that can be multiplied with cost to get profit. So if you're given that margin, if they tell you, for example, margin is 10%. 10% is the same as 10 over what here, somebody? 10/100. So if margin is 10/100, then markup will be 10/90, which is the same as 1/9. I hope some learning has taken place. I hope some learning has taken place. I hope some learning has taken place. So you're finished doing Roman 1, which wanted us to use the traditional method. Now we want to use the modern method, which is the easiest method, really. The very easiest method. The very easiest method. Great. Thank you. So now they want us, ladies and gentlemen, to go and tackle Roman 2. Roman 2. So this Roman 2, they want us to calculate the unit cost for each product, where production costs are absorbed on the basis of what here? ABC, activity-based costing. The first thing that I will do there is to look at cost drivers. We analyze the factors. Let's analyze the factors. Let's analyze the factors. So cost driver analysis, or analysis of cost drivers. Mention there analysis of cost drivers. Analysis of cost drivers, or into brackets here, factors. Factors. Yeah, and the examiner has done a great favor to us. He has given us these ones here. Yeah, so I can see them there. So we have the cost drivers. I'm just copying the way they are. Cost drivers. So remember these cost drivers. You shall be doing this for sofas. Yeah, for tables and the beds. Tables and beds. So we start with setup costs. Setup costs. Setup sorry. Okay. It's number of what your production runs. Sorry for that. Number of production runs. The cost driver there is number of production runs. So number of production runs, how many do we need? Look for the cost drivers. The numbers, second table, or the table up there. Yeah. So number of production runs, we have 3, 7, 20. 3, 7, 20, giving us a total. Total of how many? 30. Thank you so much. Let me just drop my screen here for the online students to see the structure of my table like that. So you're doing analysis. Whenever they tell you to use activity-based costing, first of all, you must do an analysis of the cost drivers. You must do an analysis of the cost drivers. Very, very important. Of which the first one, we have here number of water production runs. Number of production runs. Thank you so much. So now I can go to the others without much thoughts, now that you have already the structure. The second one is what they're calling number of water deliveries. So we have here number of deliveries. So deliveries so far, 30, 20, 50. 30, 20, 50, giving us 100. And then we have number of requisitions. Number of requisitions. Number of requisitions. So number of requisitions, we have 15, 35 to 20. 15, 35, 220. 15, 35 to 20, giving us 270. Yeah. And then, ladies and gentlemen, after that, we have number of orders executed. Number of orders executed. Number of orders executed, we have 15, 10, 25. 15, 10, 25. Giving us what at the end of the day? 50 here. Giving us 50 like that. Yeah. And then, of course, there shall be other additional cost drivers, most probably machine hours, labor hours. Yeah, most probably. So for you to see whether there are additional cost drivers, go back to the overhead items that are given. Go back to the overhead items you are given. Yeah, if you go after note number 4, you'll be able to see the cost drivers there. You can see we have number of production runs that I have. We have number of machine hours that I don't have. That I don't have. Any other? Yeah, it's only machine hours we shall be able to introduce onto our table. So onto our table, we're going to have here machine hours. We must always have some additional ones. So machine hours like that. We must always have some additional ones. So machine hours. So machine hours, please look for that information on machine hours, and then we get to talk. We get to talk business. We want to talk business. So machine hours, ladies and gentlemen, if I say page up, I'll be able to go to some table which is giving me their machine hours per who? Per unit. Whenever you hear that word per unit, you have to be very, very careful on ABC. Otherwise, you'll get an entire zero. Because you see, for ABC, we want to get the machine hours for all the units that were produced. So whenever you hear that word per unit, always know that they want you to multiply the numbers given there with the volumes. With the volumes, yes. So they give me the total machine hours. So the first one, it will be 1.5. Are you able to see so fast? It's 1.5 machine hours. But because that is for 1 unit times what here, somebody? 1,000. Machine hours, I can see 1 per unit. This word here per unit. So I can see 1 times 2,000. The volumes. 1 times 2,000. And then, ladies and gentlemen, you can see beds. What do we have there for beds? Machine hours, 2 times 800. 2 times 800. So then, are you able to give me these numbers? The first one will be 1,500. The second one will be 2,000. The third one will be 1,600, which then will give us a total of what here, somebody? A total of 5,100. A total of 5,100. A total of 5,100. Let me know, especially for the online students, because I know at times you are affected by internet connectivity, etc. I would want us to see whether we are together by you guys saying yes, if you are able to follow up to where Mwalimu has reached. Rose at least has confirmed. Yeah, thank you so much. So then after you have cleared this first part, go straight away ahead and give us the last part, which is now the overhead analysis schedule. Give us the overhead analysis schedule. Give us the overhead analysis schedule. Overhead analysis schedule. Give us the overhead analysis schedule. And remember, we are using a very, very important model called ABC, overhead analysis schedule. So then you have your overhead here. You have the overhead item. You have the cost driver. Yeah. Then you have the total amount. Then you have OAR. Then now you have your overhead being spread to the products. So the products, so we have so far, we have tables, we have beds, like that. Yes. So overhead item, the cost driver to connect this table and this one, it will be very, very important for you to have cost drivers. Yeah. Total amount, overhead absorption rate, so fast tables, beds, like that. So when we go back, now let me give you 1 minute. You finish drawing the table. Once you finish drawing that table, then I would expect you to simply mention Y for yes, Y for yes, Y for yes, Y for yes, Y for yes. Mention there Y for yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The physical students, I can see you're still doing up something. I'll give you an extra minute. Albert Aradi, Daniel Kimanthi, BRI, Jennifer Morin, and then we have the famous JJ Kamodo. Big name. Rose, thank you. Can't see well. We try to zoom, or we try to zoom. Let me try my best. Sylvester, I'm not an expert. Where camera, if I touch, I may end up spoiling everything. Just allow me to finish and then I'll be able to make it better. All right, yeah. Sorry for that. So then we start with the first overhead item given. So the first overhead item given there, if you come to this table where they have given us production overheads, yeah, we start with the first one, which is the setup cost. Setup cost. So setup cost, what is the cost driver there? Production runs. Production runs. Total amount, 300,000 shillings. So then to get OAR, I will take the total overhead over the total cost driver. Yeah, so total overhead is 300,000. We know that here the cost driver are the production runs. Do we have production runs total? 30. divided by 30. You divide by 30. 13? 10,000. So I'm being given a figure of 10,000 here. So now this is 10,000 per unit, per run, per run, per run. So then how do I spread this amount to the sofas, tables, and beds? Times, yes. We have the production runs for sofa sets, isn't it? So then this will be 10,000 times 3. This will be 10,000 here. You don't have to do these workings in your exam, eh? If you just understand, you post the answers direct. So this will be 10,000 times number of runs, 7. This will be 10,000 times 20. So then this will be 30,000. This will be 70,000. This will be, is it 200,000? And the three, if you add them, they must give you a total of 300,000. They must give you a total of 300,000. So is that okay? Yeah. So please, let's straight away go to the second overhead item. Let's go to the second overhead item. The second overhead item that we have there is known as who? Machining. Yeah. So they want us to absorb machining costs. What is the cost driver? Machine hours. How much is the total amount for machining cost? 1.2? 2,000. Thank you so much. Are you able to get the OAR for machining costs? Yeah, you simply take the total amount divided by machine hours. Total amount divided by machine hours. Total amount divided by, just like how we took 300,000 divided by total production runs. So it will be 1122,000. 1122,000 divided by machine hours. Fortunately, we have the total machine hours, which are 5,100. So is there somebody who is able to give me this answer? 220. So I'm getting 220. So it will be 220 times the machine hours for each product. If it is sofa set machine hours, I have the machine hours for sofa set. They are 1,500. Times, in this case here, 2,000. Times 1,600. Like that. So then are you able to give me these values? Are you able to give me these values? Let me see abracadabra. Let me see abracadabra. Are they able to give me these values? So I find in the rows they have given me answers. The first one I'm being told is 330,000. The second one, 440,000. The third one, 350. 352,000. Thank you so much. So after that, the next one, ladies and gentlemen, that we have there is known as what here? Requisition cost. The next one that we have there Please go ahead and do the entries for me. So you can see we have requisition costs. So requisition costs. So in this case here, requisition cost, they've told us it is number of requisitions that are cost drivers here. Number of requisitions like that. Have they given me the total amount requisition cost? Yes, 1,350,000. Yeah. So now you are experts, really. Go ahead and give me the OAR for the requisition cost. It's very easy. So the OAR here, you will take this amount divided by number of requisitions, which are how many here, somebody? 270. So you simply divide this by 270. Divide this by 270. Do you have an answer? 5,000. 5,000. Thank you so much. So it is this 5,000 that you shall work with now. It is a 5,000 that you shall work with. It is a 5,000 that now you shall be able to work with. I know already you have the numbers. I have to rub my board. So now you're able to give me these numbers. So like now this will be 5,000 times how many requisitions for the sofas? 15. This will be 5,000 times how many for tables? 35. This will be 5,000 times how many for beds? 20. Thank you. So please give me these values. Online ninjas, give me these values very fast. The first one I'm being told is 75,000. 175. 175,000. Lastly, million, right? Thank you so much. What is the name of the next cost? Inspection cost. Inspection cost. So what is the cost driver given for inspection? Number of deliveries. We deliver, they inspect. Number of deliveries. How much is the total amount of inspection cost? 1492,000, 93,000. So are you able to get the OAR? OAR, you see, will take the total amount, which is 1493,000. You divide it by total number of deliveries. You divide by total number of deliveries. Are you able to see the total number of deliveries? 100. Yeah, so you're able to get that OAR. So this OAR will be 14,930. 14,930. 14,930. So then this will be 14,930 all over. This will be 14,930, 14,930, 14,930 times. So you're able to give me the number of deliveries for sofa sets? 40, eh? 30. So times 30. How about number of deliveries for tables? 20. 20. Number of deliveries for beds? 50. Like that. So please get out of your comfort zone, get out of your way to ensure that you're able to give me these answers. And what have we agreed? Next Sunday, I expect to see all of you in my physical class at Commonwealth House, RCM Commonwealth House. So 14,930 times 30 gives me what figure at the end of the day? 44? Okay. 7,900. Yeah. And then we have the second one. 298,600. The last one. 746,500. Thank you so much. Is that all, or do we still have other cost items? We have one more to go. One more to go. What is the name of this last one? Which cost? Material handling costs. So material handling cost, what is the cost driver name? Number of orders, right? Number of orders executed. 49. Thank you so much. So divided by the total number of orders, how many orders do we have in total? 50, which then will be able to give us OAR. Which will be able to give us OAR. $21,500. So then I'm quite good. So 21,500. 21,500. 21,500. So then are you able to give me the number of orders for sofa sets? Number of orders for sofa sets? 22,500. Number of orders. 15, eh? Number is 15. 15. How about tables? 10, eh? How about beds? 5, eh? 2, 5. Thank you so much. So give me the total amount here now. So sofa sets after multiplying, what shall we be able to get? 2.322,500. 322,500. Thank you also, Jennifer. I can see online. 215,000. 215,000. Then lastly, what do we have there? 537. 537,500. Thank you so much. So please come and give me the total overheads for each product. Total overheads for each product. For each product. So if it is sofa set, you take 30,000 plus 330,000 plus 75,000, 447,900 plus 322,500. You give me the total. Thank you, Alfred. Total overheads for each product. Somebody can be doing beds, isn't it? Another person can be doing tables, as these many students are doing sofas. So 12,05,400 for sofas. I'm being given 12,05,400. 12,05,400. Thank you so much, Rose, Alfred. Tables, 11,98,600. Tables, 11,98,600. After that, beds. So what do we have there for beds? Two, 189,500. So I will continue with that table, but mine, because of scarcity of space, Oh, this figure is wrong. No problem. The last figure, 29, 36, 289 or 29,000. So please correct this figure. Madam, you can just check where you went wrong. So remember, at the end of the day, they want us to give them unit costs. So if I'm the one doing this because they want me to give them unit costs, I must come and divide this by the volumes. Are you able to remember the volumes of sofas? Production volumes. Production volumes. How much do we have here? 1,000. Tables, how many? 2,800, right? So then give me the overhead per unit. So that means you divide, isn't it? Overhead per unit. So then this will be 1205.4. 12. The second one, last one, 30. 36. Oh, this 36. And then this one, 30. No. 36, 70. 36, 70. How about the tables? $29,000, 36,000. Yeah. So tables. Why online students, I can't hear you at all. 599 point. So remember, they never wanted us to give them overhead per unit, but the cost per U. So having got an overhead per unit, I must come and add prime costs. You add prime costs, of which there are only two, which we are done. So we have material costs, and then we have labor costs. Sorry for that. I hope those numbers are correct, right? All of them. So please read for me the material cost. We finish this. Read for me the material cost. We finish this. I know you have them. Material cost for the sofa. Material cost for the sofa. Material cost for the sofa. Students are tired. Students are tired. Put 500 for the sofa material cost. Tables. Tables 2,000, right? And then beds. 3,100. Thank you so much. And then we go to labor cost. Mm-hmm. 1,800. 750. That is it. So then we have the unit cost. So now you are adding the overhead per unit plus these prime costs. Then we are at home. Tables, how much? 33. Oh, tables. 33. 99.3. Thank you so much. Beds, 2520. Sofas, 6705. 6705.3. So if you compare the traditional method and this ABC method, the answers can never be the same. The cost that we have there will be different. Which method in this case here will you trust their figures? ABC. It's modern. It's modern. All right. So what I don't know is whether, especially the online guys, Have you been able to follow this thing from the beginning to the end, really? The online guys, have you been able to follow this thing from the very beginning to the end? Perfect. 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 And ensure you watch this video again. We shall be able to put it in the LMS. Unit cost here. This is supposed to be 0.4, eh? Thank you. Sorry for that. Thank you. Yeah, how you get unit cost. So the unit cost, you take the overhead there, cost per unit, what you have here, you add the prime cost. Primary costs are two, material and labor. So you add this and this. This plus this plus this. Get that. Not YouTube, but I'm putting this on the LMS, Learning Management System. Of course, all of you are students of RCM, isn't it? So if you are a student of RCM, you'll be able to get this on the Learning Management System. Yeah. So then the homework I'm giving you is August 2024, question number 4, boy. August 2024, question number 4, boy. The question of aquatic. Question of aquatic. August 2024, question number 4, boy. August 2024, question number 4, boy. Please finish doing that question. And then ensure that you are posting your answer on WhatsApp. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I beg to stop there. Travel today. When we is quite tired, we shall overcome. JJ Kamotho, if you are a student at RCM, you'll be able to get that handout on the WhatsApp. I'll be able to share it on the paid WhatsApp. Yeah. Thank you so much. Be blessed.